Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us live on Metro Television. This is Business Edition, and we are live across the country. We are also live on DSTV channel 277. Tonight, we have a pack of items to talk about. Tonight, there is bust, and then also the construction sector in Ghana is considering developing a local content policy document in a bid to push them in helping government achieve its 70% government contract being carried out by locals in the country. So we are going to have a look at that too. But before we get into discussions for tonight, let's have a look at the top stories which are making round in the world of business tonight.
The Ghana Cocoa Board is experimenting a cocoa seedling that begins yielding fruits at 18 months. The board, together with the management, is strategizing on how to produce cocoa seedlings and improve agronomic practices that can produce cocoa trees that will bear fruits early and produce a lot of cocoa from the farms. Cocoa trees take on the average 3 to 5 years to yield a crop, with hybrid varieties providing crops earlier. The experimental farm is located at AGI Construction in the Fanchiakwa district of the Eastern region. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center (GIPC) has in the first quarter of this year alone registered more than $3 billion worth of projects. The center's first quarter performance translates into 49 new registered projects, out of which the Foreign District Investment (FDI) component of the estimated value of registered projects was $2.95 billion, with indigenous projects making up the rest. Commenting on this performance, Chief Executive Officer of GIPC, Yofi Grant, said the first quarter has been an exciting period for the GIPC following initiation and commencement of some critical business-friendly policies and projects of the new political administration. Workers at the Bank of England will stage a 4-day strike starting on 31st July in support of a pay claim. According to the Unite Union, the strike will leave its headquarters in the City of London without security and maintenance staff and effectively inoperable. However, the bank says it has contingency plans in place. It will be the first time in more than 50 years that a bank has faced a walkout by staff. The Bank of England has 4,000 staff, but it is unclear how many of them will walk out at the end of the month. The move follows a ballot which produced a 95% vote for strike action. Facebook Incorporation is challenging a gag order from a U.S. court that is preventing the company from talking about 3 government search warrants that it said pose a threat to freedom of speech, according to court documents. Facebook said it wants to notify 3 users about the search warrants, seeking their communications and information, and also give those users an opportunity to object to the warrants, according to a filing in a Washington, D.C. appeals court seen by Reuters. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees certain rights, including freedom of speech. Seoul Samsung Electronics Company Limited said on Tuesday it will invest at least $18.6 billion in South Korea to extend its lead in memory chips and next-generation smartphone displays, in a plan that promises to create almost 500,000 jobs. The investment underscores Samsung's determination to widen its lead in memory chips, which are expected to propel Asia's third most valuable company to record profits this year. It routinely invests more than $10 billion in chips annually, helping it stay ahead of competitors such as crosstown rival SK Hynix Incorporation and Japan's Toshiba Corporation.
Right, so we are live on Business Edition. Let me remind viewers that we are also live on Facebook. When you go to my Facebook page by name, Kwesi Efriye, you will find Business Edition streaming live there. You can also go to the Business Edition page, just Business Edition. Type in Business Edition all on Facebook, and you'll find us live there. You can post your comments and we read. Now, we pick a bit on bust, and we are all aware of the issues surrounding the sale of contaminated fuel by the Chief Executive Officer of BOST, Alfred Obeng, to a company by name Moving Pina, which has generated a lot of rancor in the airwaves. Today, BNI cleared the BOST CEO of any corrupt deal, and the Minister for Energy, Honorable Boakye Agyarko, did a press conference. Let's have a bite of that, then we can come back to the studio.
Ongoing investigations by the National Security, the Bureau of National Investigations, and the National Petroleum Authority have so far established the following findings, which have informed our understanding and assessment of the situation. They are as follows. The contamination of the 5 million liters occurred on January the 18th. This was before the current BOST MD assumed office. 2. BOST, as a matter of practice, has sold contaminated products as far back as 2014. Over 8 million liters of contaminated fuel was sold in 2015, and over 12 million liters was sold in 2016. The 5 million liters sold is less than that for 2015 and 2016. 3. The absence of refining capacity at all precluded the possibility of saving the contaminated products through refining process. 4. The sale of contaminated products has thus far been to individuals, union members, and companies that have largely not been licensed by the MPA. From 2015 to 2016, a total of 49 unlicensed companies and individuals bought contaminated products from BOST at 1 cedi or less. 5. By selling to individuals and union members, for example, it is clear that by practice, a company did not even have to be registered to buy contaminated products from BOST.
A company did not have to be registered to buy contaminated product from BOST. That's the Minister of Energy, Honorable Boakye Agyarko, speaking there. He went on to give a number of recommendations, saying from henceforth you will have to be licensed by the National Petroleum Authority before you will be able to deal with BOST, and a lot of other recommendations. But the eventual thing was that Alfred Obeng was cleared of any corrupt act. Let's have a look at how the minority in Parliament has responded to this press conference.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, during a press conference, stated that the minority will stop at nothing to expose the alleged corruption at BOST.
There is a very bizarre and uncharacteristic development in our country today, that we are being told that the Bureau of National Investigation, otherwise referred to as the BNI, is acting in a manner that we don't only smell, but we can sense a cover-up in respect of the matter of the selling of contaminated oil by BOST, which matter borders on fraud, which matter borders on corruption, and which matter borders on abuse of office.
He also touched on the BNI asking for the dissolution of the Energy Ministry's committee set up to look into the matter.
We are aware that the Ministry of Energy has set up a committee to investigate the matter. We are now being told that the BNI is asking for a dissolution of that committee. That can only be a gargantuan cover-up on a matter which is fraudulent. And we believe that this action of the BNI can only be sowing the seeds of corruption in our country, and then also allowing and preventing sunshine on matters that is of public interest.
The minority leader Haruna Idrisu also called on the president to adhere to his promise to fight corruption during the elections.
We're already aware of an internal theft between the ministry and other players within the government. This reticent development we find unacceptable, and therefore, if the president means well in fighting corruption, he should not be seen supporting any cover-up and must allow the ministerial committee to proceed henceforth with full investigation of the matter and report publicly.
The minority also charged the BNI to publicize its investigation.
Right, so that's exactly what is happening and how the minority responded to the press conference done by the Energy Minister, Honorable Boakye Ejakun, clearing the Chief Executive Officer of BOST of any corrupt activity regarding the sale of contaminated fuel by BOST to Moving Pina. So we'll duly follow this very case to its logical conclusion and present to you, our viewers, any findings that we come up with. Today, our discussions, as I introduced to you earlier, is about the construction sector. The construction sector is considering putting up a local content policy document that will push them to help government achieve a 70% target of helping of getting locals or people in Ghana or construction industries in Ghana to engage in their procurement activities. Tonight in the studio here with me is a man of many hats and many colors, Rockson Dogbegah. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. You are welcome into our studios.
Thank you.
For records, he is the founder and board chairman of Rock Ventures Limited. He is a building and road construction expert. He is a civil and electrical engineering expert, a consultant in civil works, facility management, management in utility services. He's a vice chair of CIOB. He's laughing a lot of things that he's done in life. Thank you very much, and thank you for gracing this very show tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gracie.
And you're all welcome.
Thank you.
So to start with, you're talking about developing local content policy for the sector, and you have made a lot of points. When I looked on the internet, I saw a lot of activities that you are trying to embark on in the construction sector. But let's start with this. What are the major challenges that are bedeviling the sector as we speak?
Well, there are so many of them. Almost every day you have issues about quality, issues about government sector service providers in the construction crying for delayed payment, issues about health and safety challenges, issues about effective monitoring evaluation, issues about procurement challenges. In fact, there are a lot of them. At one of the conferences that I chaired recently, they enumerated as much as 44 challenges but bedeviling the construction sector, and that is how bad is it.
44 challenges?
A lot of them, yeah. Right from inadequate budgetary support for government service works, capacity of contractors, to lack of research facilities, to lack of know-how, yeah, to lack of support, and to lack of a deliberate attempt to grow and develop the construction sector in Ghana. So what we have, the local construction capacity is exposed. If it comes to effective international competition, the Ghanaian construction capacity will have a bit of a challenge because of the seemingly neglect of the sector.
I like the way you have done the introduction, and I have listed a number of them. But before we box on, I would quickly want to take a short break. We are live on Facebook. You can get onto my Facebook page by name Kwasi Afriye. Kwasi is spelled Kwasi. Afriye is Afriye. You can get us streaming live, business edition. You can get onto our page too. The page is business edition. Just type business edition. I quickly wanted to go for a short break before we come back, because I am listing what you have given me here so that we go by it one by one. But I'm surprised, 44 challenges that we are looking at.
Yeah, in fact, it is the case. The Ghanaian construction sector is plagued with so many things. And like I told you, in one of the research conferences I chaired about 2 weeks ago, we know there was a group that listed about 44 challenges bedeviling the sector. Issues about inadequate budgetary constraints. Yeah, one of them. And so almost every day you have Ghanaian contractors crying for payments. In some cases, it takes about 3 to 5 years before payments are made.
I was surprised the first time I learned about the delay in payments. I thought it was just about 6 months to 1 year, but learning 3 to 5 years, that is crippling the industry.
Yeah, seriously. So you cannot have an effective local capacity developed if you have some of those challenges as major as delays in payment.
So is that why you are calling for the setting up of a development authority?
Yes. In fact, the way other countries have dealt with some of these challenges is to have a dedicated agency that will grow and develop the construction sector, whose aim will be anything that they will do to help the construction sector thrive. That is all they will do. Right from the issues about inadequate policies to grow the sector. Yeah, the issues about the development of the sector in several fronts. One of them is this bottleneck of delayed payment. Another is getting the jobs. Yeah? Another is the capacity of the contractors. And there's also the absence of certification schemes for tradespeople. So currently, there is a short supply of skilled tradesmen in Ghana. In some cases, we have to go to Togo to import some of those. And that is a big challenge. Beyond some of these is the issue about attention for the sector.
So I was going to ask, there is a Ministry of Works and Housing, and you are still calling for the setting up of a development authority. If the Ministry of Works and Housing is not being able to streamline the activities, build capacity, look at the legal aspect that we are talking about here, how will the development of the setting up of a development authority be able to help?
My understanding is that the Works and Housing Ministry and other construction-related ministries.
So we have the Ministry of Roads and Highways.
Yes.
So first of all, we have Works and Housing.
Yes.
Roads and Highways.
Yes.
And then?
Several of them. You
Several
also have
them.
the water resources now.
Yes.
And then
yes.
you have roads, Transport, Ministry of Transport.
Okay.
Yeah, and now you also have the railways.
Railways.
Yes.
And all of them come under your purview.
If you say it comes, they are all construction sector service ministries whose main aim is to make sure we have adequate policies that grows and develop the sector. Wow. Yeah, they don't develop the construction sector by way of their mandate. The last interaction I had with Works and Housing, their mandate is more to do with policies. All right, that will grow. So one of the policies that they should champion is the need to have a construction development authority, just like they have TDC, for example. Yeah, that is under the Works and Housing. You also have other ministries like ASL, is also under Works and Housing. Yeah, and you come to roads, for example. They also have other authorities, like you have highways, for example. You have feeder roads, you have urban roads. Those are specific authorities to champion specific services. So one of the things we advocating for is the need to have a dedicated agency that will grow and develop the construction services at various fronts. One is also the policy enhancement. Yeah? If we have a bridge between service providers and government, you'll be sure that the issue about growth will be achieved. The fear of the local contractor for echoing his voice as a result of unfavorable services, yeah, will be a thing of the past, because now you have an intermediary between
the government and the
service
industry people.
Industry people.
That's amazing. But again, I want to stay with that a bit. You think that some of the major challenges that we, the lay people, have seen, the collapse of buildings, for example, we had that of Melcombe, some roads have caved in, and all of those things. You think the Development Authority will be able to prevent some of these,
yes,
if there is?
Yes, because their duty will be to ensure that construction services is delivered in a manner which is sustainable. Currently, we don't have any attention in that area. You don't have anybody monitoring contractors and service providers effectively. Now, the way other countries have done this is to have a construction industry development authority established. They will ensure that you deploy the appropriate human capacities into the production process. So, for example, with the industry development authority, it will come with it a certification of tradespeople. So they will ensure that you have certified tradesmen in the construction process. They will ensure that professionals, engineers, surveyors, architects are involved in the process. So it will become an offense by law if those people are not involved in the building process.
I am very particular about that, and I'm very much interested in that. So you're suggesting that the development authority should come with a training school or capacity building setup for people in the industry, because we see masons everywhere. They get up, pick up their trowels, they are on the road, begin working. They are by the construction sites, begin working. If I want to put up a building, I just call one mason here and there, we put them together, and they begin working. And some even just build in the way of waterways and anywhere at all, just because they know how to do it. And in the end, we see the consequences that come up.
Yes, and that is exactly what the Construction Industry Development Authority will do. It is because of that vacuum, that is what that is happening. Currently, anybody picks up and says he's a contractor. Now, you'll be amazed to know that the contractors that we have that are certified or licensed by the Ministry of Works and Housing and other licensing authorities, they're only licensed to do government contracts. So the private sector has no certified service providers to deliver.
It comes back to the regulation. Do you have a proper regulation?
No, we won't say so. And that is one of the things that the Construction Industry Development Authority will do. We'll regulate the construction industry. We'll sanitize the construction industry. It is even hoped that they will help in the registration of contractors and service providers in the sector.
So you are going to push for an act or a law?
Yeah,
so when is the authority going to be set up?
Well, we are still advocating. We are still advocating for it. It's
I
government.
think you should lead the front.
Yeah, so that is what we are doing. Yeah, and we'll call on you as well to help in that campaign, because it's the only way so far that others have done to sanitize the construction industry. A similar case of building collapse happened in Malaysia. It also happened in Singapore. And that was the moment where they launched this. Okay, so I think the time is due for stakeholders to appreciate the urgent need to establish the construction industry authority. We have had a lot of engagement. We have had a lot of research work. We have had a lot of advocacy. Now, the good news is that this government is very desirous to operationalize this as quickly as possible. The Works and Housing Minister is very happy about it and has promised to do all it can to make sure that the construction industry is sanitized. The Roads and Highways Minister, the same. I also met with the Business Development Minister. He's also happy, and they are all ready to support the good cause.
The ministry has seen what the local industry can be able to do, but they don't usually engage the local industry.
Well, that is a good observation. We hope that this will be cured under this government, because, you know, the posture of this government is to enhance the private sector to really serve as the engine of growth.
So you believe in the new government and their promises?
Well, what can I say? If you are a private sector person and you have a government that champions your issues and will practicalize it, we'll say hooray. I mean, in fact, it inures to the benefit of everybody. Yeah, there will be the issue about enhanced capacity to be able to create jobs. Yeah, once the construction industry is sanitized, you can be sure that the issue about building collapses will be a thing of the past.
And affordable housing will also be
sure.
in place for us to be able to buy something.
Exactly, and that is where the local content thing comes in. Affordable housing. For you to be able to deliver affordable housing, you need a local policy to support construction industry. By that one, you are sure that there is the local content in all the supply chain. Yeah, the issues about building materials, the issue about construction services, the issues about design, the issues about procurement, all of these fit into getting you affordable housing. Yeah, so if you have a policy that ensures that we have our local materials developed here in Ghana,
right within the country.
Yes, by local people, what do you think will happen? To generate employment, poverty will be reduced. Government will not have to spend a lot of money on foreigners to be importing. We will rather be exporting the construction services. All right, and all of these will lead to reducing the value of the construction services we have.
Yeah, that would make the local industry be able to stand up to the foreign construction companies that are in the country.
Ultimately, because if you have an enhanced local capacity, why will you go and bring in foreign companies? Even if they come, they have an equal match in Ghana. Yeah, so the issue about an advantage will not be the problem anymore. Currently, the local Ghanaian construction companies are not able to compete favorably with the foreign companies.
Why is it so?
The reason is that the local companies do not get that level of attention as compared to the foreign companies.
Yes.
Most of the foreign companies that come in have a lot of protection. The Chinese companies, for example, we told it's a deliberate attempt by their government to get them into this country to generate business and to decongest their country. So they come with all the government support, which we do not get. All right? Somehow, the local construction industries are ignored. If it comes to the issues of interest on delayed payments, it doesn't happen too well in the local front.
The challenge that even comes with that, again, is health and safety issues. We have had complaints. I remember when the Circle Interchange was being constructed, we had some of the local unions coming to fight, coming to demonstrate on their salaries, number one, on their health and safety policies, and a lot of other issues. If you have these foreign companies coming in, how will you be able to deal with that should all of those contracts come to you?
Yeah, you've raised a couple of issues.
Yes.
There. One has to do with
the health and safety policy.
Yes.
And then second, the people that are coming in, foreigners.
Yeah. Now, health and safety is key in every endeavor, not only in the construction sector.
Which you have been advocating for.
Yes. There is also the need for us to have a health and safety bill, particularly for the construction sector. You know, the mines sector has their health and safety bill, and that regulates the business of health and safety in the mines. Currently, we don't have specific policies to regulate the construction sector. What we have is the Offices, Shops, Factories, Offices and Shops Act. It's quite an old one, which needs to be updated. Now, you also talked about job creation.
Job creation.
Now, with an improved local environment, there will not be the need to have foreign companies bringing in their own foreigners to come and work here when we have equal capacity.
To compete with our local workers.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't help. So there should be a deliberate policy that promotes the growth and development of the local in Ghana.
Talking about policy, you have mentioned policy gaps.
Yes.
There are gaps in policy directions for particularly the construction sector. You have cited, for example, non-availability of budgetary allocation.
Yes.
And that is affecting you very much. Before the projects are given, they just give out the projects without putting what they plan to do in the budgets. And so at certain points in the progression of the project, the contractors, get stuck.
Yes. And that is a major challenge, and that is why you see most of government projects left uncompleted for several years. I have projects that have been running without budgetary provision, adequate budget, for more than 10 years now.
10 years?
Yes, and it is there, you know.
Do you care to mention the name of the company?
No, I won't mention it.
But government, we are very much sure that government is watching, and so you have left a project for 10 years without paying for it. Please go and pay. Let him be able to complete, and then let the people of Ghana be able to enjoy.
Yeah, beyond the payment, we're talking about the budgetary provision to complete the project. So most of the projects are left uncompleted. So to solve it, we're proposing that there should be money before projects are committed. All right? The business of about availability of money should be legislated by law. So it becomes an offense to place a project if there is no money. That way, projects can be completed within costs, within time, and within quality. Yeah, at the end of the day, stakeholders are happy.
We are currently having a case. I'm sure you, because you are not political or you don't want politics, you may not want to comment on it. The case about the Cocoa Board roads, which the new government or the transport minister is accusing the previous minister for giving too many contracts in the sector. Would you want to comment?
Yeah, but you started by saying that, you know, I'm not a politician.
I know you not want to wade into politics, but
I am a businessman.
The issue has come up.
The whole idea here is about focus and policy direction, in my view. I mean, I believe that whatever is in motion must be done and completed, all right, before additional ones are done. So I may not want to go too much into that area. I want to stay focused. What we are calling for is the need to have attention to grow and develop the construction sector. So ultimately, you'll have value for money at all the time. You will ensure that poverty is reduced. You will ensure that employment issues are addressed so that this country can boast of a strong local capacity that it can export, right? If local capacity is enhanced, you can imagine what will happen. Just as the foreign companies are coming into this country, we will also go into other countries. And that can be achieved.
Have you as a company, Rock Ventures, set up in other countries?
Yes. We registered in 2 other countries, but have not started operations yet.
But you have a lot of big projects in the country,
sure.
Some of which are...
Oh, we have quite a couple of them. We did the Shippers Authority building. It's a 12...
The Ghana Shippers Authority building?
Yeah, sure. It's a 12-story. Yeah. When we were competing, we competed with international companies, foreign companies, but we won the bid. Yes. And it's as a result of our resolve for professionalism and excellence. We believe in quality. We believe in excellence. We believe in timely delivery.
And I have seen that of the National Petroleum Authority new building too.
Yes.
How many people are you employing?
It varies when we have jobs and all of that, but averagely between 300 to 500 people.
1 month?
Yes.
So that's the more reason why government should be looking inwards, should be looking forward to supporting you develop the local content policy.
Certainly. And it's in the interest of all Ghanaians, in the interest of Ghana. You know, this is our home, this is our country. If we need to develop this country, it is about the local capacity. Once the local capacity is enhanced, hey, what can we not achieve? And that is what we're calling for government, to pay some attention to the construction industry development agenda. That is the only way. The construction industry contributes so significantly to our GDP. At the last count, it was about 14%. Yeah, and that is huge. Meanwhile, we do not have the corresponding attention for the sector. It is our hope and prayer that we will have attention from government to be able to develop the construction sector. I'm very hopeful. Yeah, I'm very hopeful that we will see some development at that front.
There are a lot of other things that I would want to ask, but we are almost running out of time. So let me ask about the program which is coming up on Tuesday. What is the program? We know it's about stakeholder engagements, but what exactly does the program seek to do?
Yeah, the program seeks to stimulate debate, take perspective on the need to have a local content policy document developed for the construction sector as a deliberate attempt, you know, to grow the construction industry. Yeah, that is what will be happening. Yeah. From the government side, we're expecting to have the Minister for Works and Housing. We're expecting to have the Minister for Roads and Highways. And we may also have the Minister for Business Development together with other industry stakeholders. Key among them is the construction associations, the Chartered Institute of Building. You have the Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors. You also have the road contractors. And we have people in academia and research institutions will be congregating with collaboration with global community initiative to be able to do justice to the subject.
I'll come back to the date and time and everything, but let's pick the business codes and investment tips. We'll come back to ask him the very final questions we have, and then we can wrap up on this program. We are live across the country. We're also live on DSTV channel 277. We're also live on social media, Facebook page, Kwasi Afriye, and that of Business Edition. Let's pick the business codes and investment tips. All right, you're welcome back from the break. I have a couple of messages here that have come up on Facebook. I'm going to allow him land on the program that he was talking about. The program is supposed to be coming on this Tuesday. So he was detailing us on what the stakeholder engagements will be about. We'll finish with him on that. We'll come back to the messages, and then we'll let him answer one or two of the messages that we're having on Facebook now. And then we'll continue with our questioning back here in the studio. So Rockson Dogbegah is, as I introduced to you earlier, a man with many colors and a man with many hats. He is a civil engineer, a construction expert, and all that you can think of. The founder and chairman of Rock Ventures. We're talking about the program for Tuesday.
Yeah, so like I was saying, the program is to ignite some discussion on the need to have a local content policy document developed to guide the process of construction industry development in Ghana. Yeah, so that is what we'll be doing. We'll have a lot of key stakeholders at that forum to brainstorm on the critical issues with the aim of attempting to give meaning to the need to deepen the development of construction sector service providers in Ghana, with the hope that we will have a vibrant industry at the end of the day that will generate jobs, reduce poverty, and position this country as the hub of development in West Africa.
Dates for the program?
11th July at Fiesta Royal Hotel. It starts at 9 on the dot.
That's exactly a week today, Tuesday.
Yes.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. on the dot.
And who is invited?
Construction sector service players. We have, those are the key stakeholders. It's expected that they will be invited. And some government sector players, including the Public Procurement Authority.
Right. So these are some of the messages that are coming up. Some are on bust, some are on the construction that we are discussing. First one is from Natalie Ejewa. It says, Ghana focus too much corruption has eaten up heads of some of our leaders. May God have mercy on us. Asem Beba Debi. That's exactly on bust and not on the construction industry. Ima, good job. Okay, that's Ababa. Baba Magida, Natalie Ajewa, again, good job, Kosefri. Okay, we have all of that. But this one particularly comes to you, Roxanne. It says, from Abu Lansani M. Abanton. Lansani writes from Damongo. In fact, for government to succeed, we must review all contracts, especially under construction. I'm sure you know about the Cocoa Board or the Transport Minister talking about the number of rules that were given out as in contracts within 1 year, 2016 alone. They are saying that they are going to review all the contracts. And this texter is saying that, in fact, for government to succeed, they must review all the contracts, especially under construction. You think so, too?
Well, I mean, if it is the wisdom of government to review contracts, so we can't stop government from doing that one. Yeah, whatever the case is, it's about value for money. So, if government intends to review contracts, nobody can stop government from, government has the mandate of the people to lead this country in a manner which helps everybody. So we only pray that whatever it is, services that are provided should be paid for, because otherwise we'll be killing the very capacity we are crying for to be developed. So I guess the chicken and egg affair. Whatever the case is, we will expect that government must realize that the business of developing the local capacity is in his hands. So whatever the case is, there should be a good balance to ensure that there is continuity. All right? If we kill the very capacities as a result of delayed payment, as a result of inappropriate interventions, the very sector that is propel the engine to growth will be affected. Ghana is for Ghanaians. Ghana Construction Company, locals, is what will lead this country to the next generation.
Even if the contract was job for the boys and wasn't given to the appropriate or wasn't taken through the proper process. I'm happy about the fact that you mentioned that you are inviting the Public Procurement Authority to the program, because that's also a huge sector when it comes to the construction industry, a huge topic for discussion, how the contracts are awarded and all of that. Do you have anything to say on that?
Oh, the Public Procurement Authority is the statutory body that governs and oversees the business of procurement in Ghana. I mean, you cannot do any public procurement.
So we are seeing some of your works now. Oh, that has just gone by. That has just gone by. But we saw on the screen the NPA's new building. We specifically took a picture of that just to see how Ghanaians are putting up construction works in the industry and their power and strength to be able to compete. Okay, so we see the Ghana Shippers Authority building there right now. And that was constructed by you.
Yes. Yeah, like I was saying, if you enhance the capacity of local players, they should be able to compete with foreigners. And that should, for me, should be the prime objective of government. I mean, Ghanaians are hungry. They want to be developed. They want their capacity to be developed. They want the opportunities to develop. So government must stimulate the award of contracts and ensure that there are availability of funds for this project. And where there are delays, governments must be able to pay interest on the delayed payment. So on another hand, we are advocating for the need to have an interest on delayed payment act
to push for payments to come in earlier.
Yeah, to ensure that when there are delays, contractors are paid for the delays. Otherwise, these contractors, you know.
But I understand that, for example, when you are going for facilities and financial facilities to finance projects of this sort, particularly those ones that are for government, you increase the cost because you know that it is going to take more than a year to 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years.
No, that cannot happen. There's no way you can factor in 5 years non-payment into a contract up front. There's no way you can get that contract. I mean, how
you are not able to calculate how much you would want to charge in the next 5 years?
You can calculate, but you cannot, put in a bid that adds a 5 years delayed payment. Normally, the standard conditions of contract will have specific timelines for payment in the contract document. Most of the times, it is about 28 days. So whatever the case is, you may factor in the cost of borrowing money for only 28 days. Now, if there are delays, you will expect that government pays for those interest on those delays. But unfortunately, in some contracts, those clauses are taken out to the disadvantage of the contractor. Yeah, and where contractors are not able to speak about it and get paid, that is where the challenge is. And sometimes when you speak, you are victimized. And so again, the issues about victimization of contractors can be taken off contractors if you have an industry development authority that will be the mouthpiece speaking for the growth and development of the sector.
And it's do you think it's politicized? You are in the industry. The perception for us out there that contracts being awarded to contractors in this country is largely politicized. And so if you are with party A or party B and your party is in power, you are going to get certain kinds of contracts.
Well, that is the perception, and indeed there could be, but for us, we have survived all governments. Yeah? I mean, it is about professionalism and excellence. If you do your work well, if you do your work well, every government will want to work with you. So for me, I don't think that in as much as possible that governments may have its favorite, the key concern is that if you position yourself to deliver quality, it will attract every government.
So governments have their favorites?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in government, I can tell. But what can I assure you is that where you position yourself to deliver quality, excellent service, on time, you will have a lot of attraction.
That is largely based on your capacity, because you have the capacity to be able to deliver professionally excellent service, be on time and all of that. So for you and for Baroque Ventures Limited, you can be able to speak on that line. But what of the other colleagues? Can you state that the industry now, we have the needed capacity, we have the required capacity, particularly that we are at a time that we are talking about foreigners that are coming in and all, do we have that capacity to deliver?
Well, it depends on the complexity of the project. Some projects are very simple. In a case where you have Chinese companies working or competing with on KVIP projects, that is a non-starter. Indeed, if you have a story building, like 12-story, 15-story, 20 stories building, that calls for capacity. Yeah, and that is not very strong at the moment. And that is the very reason why there should be a deliberate attempt to grow and develop the local capacity to be able to compete, effectively with these foreign companies.
So there is this one coming in here. It says, thank you very much, Mr. Rockson. We are loving the show. Emmanuel Dabui, I don't know where he's writing from, but it says, look over your shoulder, Alakple all the way. Please don't forget Alakple Roads. Alakple Roads, I'm sure he's appealing to you, not to come and construct it for them, but to come and bid if there is a bidding process, so that your company will be able to do it for them.
Why not? We are available for every
opportunity. But you know Alakple?
If it comes up.
You know the place?
Yes, I know. Coincidentally, I come from Alakple.
So it probably means the person watching knows you.
Yeah, I think so.
And is expecting that you come and do their roads for them.
Maybe.
You are a big man from the area, and so at least come and help them. So that's exactly what I now understand.
It's amazing.
So Emmanuel, I now understand your text message very well. So keep up, but look over your shoulder. Alakple all way. Please don't forget Alakple Road. So please, we're also appealing to you. don't forget Alakule Road. So thank you very much for coming. But on Tuesday
thank you very much.
On Tuesday again, the program is coming on at Fiesta Royale, 9 a.m. They don't play with their time. Make it a point to be part of the program. My name is Kwasi Afriye. Our guest of honor tonight was Rockson Dogbegah. Well, he's giving me a card, so instead of running through all the things that I've mentioned to you, I'll just read what I have on the card. Association of Ghana Industries, the construction sector. He is the chairman of the construction sector of the Association of Ghana Industries. Rockson Dogbegah was our guest tonight. My name again is Kwasi Afriye. Thank you very much for staying with us tonight. Enjoy the rest of our programs.